Flamingo. Heck yeah, I like that. Okay, let's get this turned around. That's what I'm going to start out with is the flamingo. So we're going to use a chainsaw and this nice flat piece of pine we got here. Let me zip around to it, get you an idea. It's just a skim off where I made that podium. That's what it is. And this log was pretty decent. Even the outer layer was in pretty good shape. So I'm going to try to use this to make a flamingo. And then I got a couple other things lined up. Whimsical redfish, I'm thinking. And here's what's left of the podium. I done tore it down, cut off the skin. That had Skylar and Haley's name on it. And got that in the back of the car. We're going to be dropping that off at their house. That said, I'm going to go ahead and start building stuff out of all my scraps. Because now that this wedding's over, I got to build stuff. And I got to build stuff fast. I got 3 weeks till the first show, which is a minor show. It's only one. But then a big one is 4 weeks away. So we got to make. Now that we got that out of the way. We also got our son. He's getting married in October. And we have a wedding shower for them on Labor Day weekend. So I mean, we just got a lot going on here. And in the middle of all that, I got to build like crazy. So I guess we're going to start with this guy. I'm going to see how many things I can get done today without having to take a break, if that makes any sense. What's up, baby kisses? Heck yeah. Glad to see you in there. Okay, I'm getting the muffies on. I'll probably end up putting a mask on, but I'm going to start. Actually, since that's kind of high, I'm going to start with the mask. Let me get it. I got to put it on for it quickly. Man, that chin is kind of weird. We'll go with it this round. If I got to stop and tighten it up, it is what it is. Well, you know, you should get in there and start getting some stuff done. Oh, man, I got that's the air back. Yeah, good too. All right. Get this baby rolling.
so far? It's coming out all right. Not too bad, not too good. Be sure and hit that like button. Appreciate you guys being here. Hey, Natalie, Woodchucker, Caleb. Hello, buddy. What's going on? All right. fantastic so far. So I had to make that, the eye hole a little deeper than I really meant to make it because there was a wormhole there. But, you know, it is what it is. Just had to go with it. Anyway, hit that like. We appreciate y'all being there. All right, let's keep going. like to do that. I figured out that
all these saws seem to do better if you keep using them. You don't let them cool down too much. How's that coming out so far? Not too bad, not too good. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna look cool. It's gonna be okay. You know, the only kind of weird place is I have to cut these legs down, dig them out, and there'll be a piece in there just to make it strong, you know, in between them. That kind of is what it is. You got to do that. But it's looking pretty good. I've never made a Flamingo before. I'm sure some smart aleck will say, well, I can tell, buddy. But you know, you got to make stuff. That's the way it goes. And then the next piece up is going to be a redfish. But it's going to be kind of I'm going to do like a whimsical take on it. Like I seen how Chris Poplin at Busy Run Creations, he's been making these fish. And he's doing the scales just with the tip of a chainsaw, giving these little like blocks or kind of boxes, you know, in them. And it's more simplistic than trying to scale, but they look really, really good. I mean, they're really, really cool. And I want to try to make something like that. That's what I'm thinking after I get done with this Flamingo, which honestly, this Flamingo ain't gonna take very long. It's already looking like, I mean, I probably got another tank of fuel in it at the most, honestly. I wonder who's playing music. If I can hear music back here, I'm irritated. I guess I shouldn't say I'm irritated. It's just, I don't really want to hear it. How about that? And they gotta have it up pretty loud for me to hear it back here too. All right, let me get my mask back on. Headphones back on. Man, I keep getting my hair cut now. Mask, all right, there we go. Now, let me see if I can pull it back a little bit. Oh, there we go. Heck yeah. Right about there. And hit that like button if you haven't already. We'll get going again. Let's squeeze a little fuel in there. Come on, baby.
let's give this guy some feet. Not too bad, not too good. It ain't looking too bad. Anyway, hit that like if you like it. If you don't like it, okay, that's fine. I'll make something else. Give me a minute. I need a bigger saw for that. And you get 16-inch bar. Cut that front piece off. But let's do it. Yeah, he's not bad. Not good. He's not bad. Come on, baby. Something kind of plain to work these feet in a little bit. Not a lot. I mean, I could just make it like a watermark too, you know? I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily have to make these for toes, you know?
that thing, a big old crazy eyeball, and something we can paint, and then we burn it. So one thing at a time. Get out the bird. Pretty big bird. Not big bird, but a big bird. You know, like big bird's a big bird. You know what I'm saying? I know what you're saying, because I always say it. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. We want to give him a big old cartoony eye. I think that'd be about right. Hey, the moral of the story is if you poke a hole in a paint can, you'll get your bits all colored. Okay? Yeah, we'll go with that one. That's pretty good. Yeah, how do you think? What's the next one up from this one? That looks like the second to the biggest, actually. Yeah, it is. Okay, well, that's what I'm going with that. And that'd be plenty big enough. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, I could go with the giant one and just give him a real cartoony eye, which was kind of what I was thinking of anyway. I don't know, man. Yeah, what the heck, you know? I mean, the worst thing that happens, it looks silly. But it looks silly, so if it looks even silly or silly, whatever. Cute's what sells anyhow, so. I don't know. If you have 10 people make fun of something you made and one person comes by and thinks it's the coolest thing you ever seen and buys it, what's the matter with the other 10 people thought, right? You know, they were just jerks. Except nobody told them that. Well, let me tell you, I'm here to tell them they're jerks. But anyway, let me get this hooked up. I haven't plugged my cord in. I had the cord stretched across the yard there to run the sound system. And it took two 50-footers to get to where it needed to be. Anyway, that was one of them, so I hadn't plugged it back in yet. At least I got it back to the channel. Oh yeah, that's not too big. I think that looks perfect. Huh. Was that the biggest one? I think I got another one that's bigger than that. Yeah, I definitely do. I wonder what's that. It's not where it goes. Huh. I might have lost it. I don't know. Yeah, I do have a bigger bit than the one I just used. I don't know what's that. Hopefully I didn't lose it. Well, let's burn it. Torch this baby up. And then we'll move it over and start on this redfish. Alright. Do I know where my striker is? I hope. Let's see what we got. Heck yeah, 89, getting close to 100 likes. Appreciate that, guys. What's up? What's up, Perry? Well, you know, hi, John. It's a flamingo. It's my first attempt at one. And so he might be a little wacky. But, you know, it'll be all right. Somebody will buy him, trust me. I have too many people ask me, have you ever made a flamingo? No. And I'm honestly, probably going to make another one too, but in a different style. Where it'll be out of a flat board, where I can make it like the legs, you know, one leg off the ground. I've been looking at it. The weird thing about this one is, the neck is usually right here. Well, this piece of wood, I don't really have that opportunity. I'd take it right there. Haley is going to feel about painting that thing. Well, we're going to find out. Anyway, let's start with, we need a flat disc just to clean that bill up. Let's knock it out. That way, if I do that and I go over it real quick with the flat paper, you know, don't take very long, then he's done. I can put him on off to being ready to paint. So before I get started with something else, let me do that. I'll just knock him out. 5 minutes. I'll bet it takes 5 minutes. If it takes 5 minutes. That's kind of how. That's what happens. Flat paper. The craziest tool in the world. The bill doesn't take no time, look. Uh-oh. That's good enough. That is good enough. I can take him off. And let me put this mask back in the bag because I probably won't work the second time around. But I can take that off, take it in the garage, and boss lady can paint it come next week or whatever, you know, or whenever. One thing that we've heard the last 2 years when we would do one particular show, which is 2 years now in a row, it's been the biggest show we've done, and this year we might actually be the bigger one, but it's kind of looking like it. But that's it, or at least one that's going to be bigger. Is that I have a huge variety. Well, I don't really feel like I do this year, and so I thought, you know, the only way to fix that is just make all kinds of stuff that I either don't make very much of or have never made, you know, and A flamingo is certainly one that people have asked about. Dragonfly is another one. There's that guy. He's hiding under a tree. If you know, you tell me. If you were up here in the Midwest where a flamingo ought not be, you'd probably hide under a tree too. Okay, so let's do this fish. Like I said, it's gonna be fish, but what I'm shooting for is more of a whimsical type carve than realistic. I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Facebook that Chris Poplin has done like that, and he's also made some really cool kind of realistic stuff. But he's making a ton of these fish that are, they're based on real fish, real fish looks and stuff like that. But that said, they're more artsy and less realistic. And I kind of like to do a couple pieces like that. And I'm going to start with this one. Let's see how it goes. Let me put that right there and screw it down. It's going to be a red fish. They're modeled after a red fish. But it's just not going to be, I'm not trying to go for the realism. Like usually when I make a fish, I'm trying to make it look as much like a fish as I can. Or, that, whatever the fish is, that I can. And that's probably not going to be the case for about the next 3 or 4 fish I do. I'm going to make some fun fish. Funner, they're all fun. Now, I don't know how good that's going to work out. But, well, and I have to for now find out because I don't know if they're going to run them down. I'm going to go a little deeper there. I'm going to have to find out. All right, let's do it. I'll get saw, muffs. Let's start cutting in this thing. See what we get. Make sure I'm on it. I'm on it. There we go. One thing I probably need to move is this block. At least kick it out of the way. Actually, if I put that block back in there like I had it for the flamingo, it might help stabilize that a little bit. Let's see. A little different way of doing it, but let's see what we get. Try that. I mean, I tried it in a different way, and I wondered if that was going to fall off, and sure enough, it did. So, let's try it like that this time. See if I can keep just enough tension on it, yet I'm not cutting into it. Okay. done for, you know, probably only starting out with a half a can. You know, so far it's coming pretty good. Hey, we got the 100 likes. See if I can't get this over just a little bit more. Hey, look, there's a fish jumped out back there. See that? All right. Yeah, let's stuff some more fuel in this baby. Fuel and oil. Yeah, the birds and the bees and the cigarette trees and the big rock candy mountain. Mm-hmm. But not too bad. Not too bad for them starting. And you could go any way. At this point, it's pretty early. I got to shave that thing down with one really long cut off of it too. Let's see. Am I getting there? Just when I think I'm getting there, I'm not getting there. I might get there. There we go. So anyway, this wedding went awesome. They got they had 90 people invited, and I think more than that actually showed up. Just the way these kind of things worked out. And reception went really good, really, really good. I mean, you couldn't ask for things that gone better, you know, other than Elon Musk stopped by and, you know, give them a couple $1 million, to, you know, on their way, to send them off on their way. You know, other than that, you couldn't ask for anything to go better. It did go good. And out here, they got married out here in front of the house. We had a big company come in and put a great big tent up because they were saying rain all week. Well, we had to make that decision a month ago about putting that tent up. And anyway, we got it, and we didn't need it. It never rained. So you never know, you know. It is kind of what it is. And they were saying it was going to, so it'd have been a lot more panic if we didn't have it, you know. That's the way it goes. All right, let's get on with this dude.
cut. I gotta make, but I need to leave some of this there. Hold on. Get the bigger saw out so I can kind of pull through that. Maybe. How's that looking? You getting a pretty good view of it? Yeah, not too bad. That's not too bad, is it? Okay. Heck yeah, hit the like button if you haven't already. Hey, Raspberry Head, how you doing? Heck yeah. Okay. Come on, baby. Well, I did use it earlier. Enough of that to kind of round that out and get rid of that outer edge. That was part of it. Just getting rid of that outer edge is best thing, because that's this particular piece. It wasn't rotten, but it wasn't good either. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. All right, let's do it. Keep that on the going. could use that much fuel, but I guess I did. I'm gonna go ahead and let that one sleep and go to the other one. Get out the old one. It's ready to go, fueled up. All that stuff. I mean, I'll run 3 tanks this. I probably give it a break, you know what I mean? But anyhow, yeah, swimsicle redfish. I think he's looking all right. Not too bad. Gonna be a nice big chunky piece. That part's for sure. Okay. Let's see if I get this baby done. I know I can get this one done with just with the saw. What the heck? Oh. There we go.
that looks all right. Let's give this guy a big old eyeball like we use in the Flamingo. It had to be a big one. You got to use a big one. You know what I mean? It's not going to stand out enough. But don't that have that carp look to it? Which that's what I mean, I just make kind of diamonds, you know, instead of scales, really. But they still represent scales. But that's kind of what a redfish looks like, you know. I mean, they look like a carp to me. I don't know what the peel is. I mean, our guys in Louisiana make them. They taste good. Man or they're ugly. Yeah. Like my mother-in-law. Yeah, okay. All right. I shouldn't have said that. Laura, I apologize. Not really. You know, as soon as I got off there, I'd be making fun of her again. Okay. All right. Yeah. This big old bonehead looking eye. I like that. That's really cool. I wish there's this giant bird I was talking about earlier. I'm going to give this guy like a cut, like an eyebrow. I think it'd look cool. Let's do that. Heck yeah. So I was planning on making a cardinal today, too, but I need to see how much time I got. Okay. Very good. That looks good enough. Yeah, it kind of gives him a big old brushy eyebrow look, you know? Something different. So, get this baby set up, but I need to burn him first. I'll have that sitting there. Take this block out of the way. Don't need that. Go burn the backside, clean the backside up pretty decent with the torch. And go from there. But yeah, I think it looks pretty cool. You know, it's gonna be neat. Oh, so I'm making a redfish, right? What does a redfish has? It has a big dot on the back of its tail. I need to put that on there real quick. Let me do that too. And actually, you know what? I'll burn that in last because it should be black. Sit down, that will keep my nose clean. All right. What do you guys think? That's a nice burn. Give it a whole different appearance on there. Not too bad, not shabby. Who have we got in here today? Let's see. What's up, Dad? What's up, Donna? What's up, Tina? Hello, hello. Katie, how you doing? Glad to have you in there. Heck yeah. All right, let's get it done. Put some salmon in this baby. Hopefully we got a pretty decent signal too. I'm guessing. Heck yeah. All right. 49, 140, looking pretty good. Okay. Arm on my face. Just a salmon. Oh, I keep trapping my beard in there. I'm about falling off. All right, that's good.
come out pretty good. And honestly, I like it so much, I probably wouldn't, I probably won't paint it. Since they're kind of it's kind of similar color to a redfish anyway, I probably won't even paint it. I'll probably leave it like it is and do the eye. I'll paint the eye and just the black, and then, you know, give it kind of a cartoony couple white spots, you know, be light. And then that's pretty much it. Let's give it a dot. Wait a minute, where is the dot on the redfish? Well, it's going to end up where I put it. How about that? There we go. That's what we got. Okay. I can't remember. I honestly can't remember where it's at. But hey, that's piece number 2 doing it there. Not bad. And that one won't have to get you, unlike the Flamingo, which I've got the right pink for that, to do that Flamingo. So I don't think that'll be, and you know, I use really only 2 colors, pink and black. What do I do with my battery drill? I see that. Oh, here it is. It's always in the open and I don't see it. What kind of neat piece, you know? Not a lot of time now. It's done. That's what I really like. So I got a block out here. So I took the podium that I built for Haley's wedding this morning. I got up real early and I cut the piece off that has her and Skylar's name on it. And now I got this piece of log down here. I took the whole thing apart, and so I'm going to make pieces out of it because I don't need a podium anymore. Let's see. Let me show you guys what we did so far. We got our whimsical redfish. It's actually really cool. That thing is really cool. And then our Flamingo, he's hiding under a tree. Okay, let me bring us over here. Oh, let's cut off so what I'm thinking is I need a good size Cardinal. And so I cut this whole block where that brown line is and turn that into Cardinal. So I go ahead and cut this block off. I need to take something to drink real quick. I got a cup over here on the boss lady's car. I put a lid on it so no bugs will get in. Just some sweet, real sweet stuff. Yeah, it's really sweet. But it's not cold anymore. That part's horrible. But you take what you can get, right? Heck yeah. Hey, baby kisses, it's a redfish. I can't remember where the brown dot, or the black dot. They got a black dot on their tail, or maybe it's on the back of the hip. I can't remember where it's at, but what I know is it's on there now. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it's on there. Get me out of the way there a little bit. I can't wait to finish that turtle now. The more I look at it. Broke off. Yeah. So this piece is a 30-inch block. Set that up there that way. Carry that over there. I'm gonna smash my feet. I don't know why I've been wearing flip-flops all the time out here. I'm gonna end up getting hurt if I keep doing that. But I know it's cooler. My feet are cooler.
Yeah, I suppose they would be. We'll get this through. I think I put it back in the tub. So the front, the base is going to be right there. Let me move that up closer. Stick out. Shazam, Shazam. There we go. Maybe we can get 150 likes out of this. We'll see how it goes. Heck yeah. All right. So this is already kind of, I sanded all this down as part of the podium, the live edge piece of it. And even this part was sanded. I had sanded. Just made it all look nice, but I'm going to keep, like, so much of this anyway. I want to put some screws in it just to keep it stable. I don't know that it would need them, but it ain't going to hurt. Over here, I'll have to round it out a little bit. So. Okay, there's that. Okay, let's see what we get. I think, yeah, I probably ought to start out with 10 inch. I'd say. I think. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Come on, Grandma. I should have started it before 10. That's enough. I hadn't run since Tuesday. got, I don't know. We're probably 2/3 of the way through the blocking. You can tell what it is. That's important, right? All right, let's keep going. I'll just grab the Holzfforma. And yeah, actually at this point now, I'm still going to need a 10 to break that tail out. I forgot them screws were in there and I hit them. I guess. Whatever. You don't have that right. I hit at least one of them. I could hear it. Ding. I don't know if you guys could hear it or not. But that's life. Where's the battery drill? I was gonna go ahead and start using the little saw, but before I do, now I want to know how bad my chain is. Did I hit that one? Yeah, just skim back. I might not have hit him. Let's find out. Just skimmed one. Might not be too bad, but it tells me if I need to mess the chain tonight. Cause I'm going on a fishing trip Tuesday night. I won't be home, so I plan. Yeah, I just hit the one screw. I plan to live stream chainsaw carve tomorrow. That's the plan. Normally I don't carve on Mondays. What we got here? Gas money from Baby Kisses. Heck yeah, thank you, thank you. Oh heck yeah. Hey Natalie, what's up, William Shoop? What's up, Miss Francis? Beating Crazy Custom Creations. Heck yeah. Okay, so let's find out if my chain is too dull, so I'll know if I need to sharpen it or not. If it ain't bad, I won't mess with it. Nice and dull. I screwed that one up. That sounds like Pink Floyd, you know. Go on, hit the kid. Go on, hit the kid. Oh yeah. Thought I hit myself after that. That's pretty dumb. Oh well. You'll have that. Sometimes you just get in the, you're too busy working and you don't really notice it. I know I'm getting close to low on battery, but I'm not too worried about it. Oh, okay, that will last a lot. I'm gonna try to finish this Cardinal. And it should be all little saw work now. I just pick one and put fuel in it and hope it runs. Doesn't that sound right? I don't even remember running this one I got in my hand out of fuel, but I'm gonna find out. And then I'll tell you what, when I started that bird and I cut that long piece off, I'm gonna make something out of that. That's gonna be something, that leftover piece. It's gotta be something. Yeah, I had this thing, it had probably about 2/3 of a tank of fuel still. That's a plus, but. So they heat up, if you keep running them, it's not bad, but they heat up and the fuel evaporates a little bit in there, and they're just a lot harder to start if you let them sit for a while. And it gets better as the days get colder. You don't have that, but in the summertime, if you're gonna carve, you just keep using the same saw. Unless if you're only gonna do one piece and you're only gonna be on so long, and you can get it done with 3 or 4 saws, and it makes it nicer. You don't have to stop, but if you're going to keep going, if you're going to go for 3 or 4 hours, you probably ought to do it this way. Okay, let's see if we get this baby running. Yeah. Well, maybe. What do you guys think? Uh-oh, low battery. Hopefully we're still in there, low battery. It's red anyway, but kind of looks like it. Heck yeah, some ice cream. I could use some ice cream. Heck yeah, that's for sure. Okay, let me get, we'll burn him and then do that. Or no, I want to do the eyes and then burn him. How about that? Now, he's going to get some big eyes. He's not going to get the same eye tool I just used for that fishing on. I don't know, man. So you're going for Angry Bird Cardinal. It looks super cute. That would work. It's pretty big, but it would work. It would be super cute. But I'm going to go down a little bit because not everybody's going to see it that way. And so, we'll go down the next size. That way it's still cute, but it's not quite as ridiculous looking. There's a little smoke. Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, super cute. Talk about the thing. Let me get it better light. Looks like this one I went further back. Oh, this not really. They are back in there. What I can do to thin that out a little bit is I can take this here, dig some of that away, and then I'm going to burn him. Alright. Okay, one this big, I need to shape the beak. I'll go ahead and do that too. Maybe even put the mouth and nose line in. Might not be a bad idea. It just looks like a big old angry bird. That's what we were going for. The last big old angry, actually the last several. Every time we make one like that, we sell it. No, I don't like to cut that out. Just a little bit out. What's going to do is mouth one. Give him some nose holes. Might as well. And that's really like these, I don't give them feet. So, the idea is the bird's sitting on his feet, and that's why you can't see him. Just makes it easier.
Well, let's do the next thing, which is burning. Put the fire to him, put the hot coal to him. Boy, he looks mean. Especially from the side. He looks like an angry bird. How about that? What do you think? Not too bad? Yeah, I did about tripped, didn't I? Yeah, you were right if that's what you thought. Okay, it's burning. The last one I had that we sold at the tractor shed, Tyler Jack. We had that clean face. The boss lady loved it. She didn't want me to sell it. So I make cake off burning to sell it. A little sanding on this baby. Won't be able to call him done. Get ready to paint. Pretty cool how fast this goes. I mean, I don't know how long I've been on here. I know it's over 2 hours. Let's see. Yeah, 162 minutes. So probably getting close to 3 hours. And hey, Colt, well, you know, buddy. But just like that, I got 3 pieces, and all 3 of them pieces individually, are at least $100. You know, I mean, that fish might be $100. Flamingo, he'll be considerably more. This guy will be considerably more. So it just blows my mind just how fast I can produce stuff that, is actually going to bring in pretty good money. And I need it. I need all the stuff I can sell because I signed up to do all these shows, and now I'm freaking out. Am I going to have enough? You know what I mean? Probably not. How much do you want? I think running out with stuff to sell is a good thing. yeah, that one looks good. Not too good, not too bad, not too shabby. He ain't got no crab, you know what I mean? Pretty good. Yeah, I like making them. And that way, I mean, we always sell them. Don't make it more than 2 shows without selling any cardinal. You got big cardinal, you'll sell it. So I need to have a bunch of big cardinal. And I already tell you, probably tomorrow, provided I do get to go ahead and live stream like I was planning. Yeah, I should go ahead and paint it, shouldn't I, baby kisses? Heck yeah. Worked on the shop today, Bill. Awesome, heck yeah. I'll have to check that out. I didn't see it. I seen the bowl where the bowl was real shiny. I seen that one. I think that was actually on Facebook though. But yeah, I don't know. In the end, we got what we got. I appreciate the stuff you guys give us. Heck yeah. So my phone is about to croak, and I don't want it to croak on one live, but I'm gonna try to get in here tomorrow, at least do an hour, because I'm gonna be gone Tuesday, and then Thursday. You just never know. Oh, you had a storm. Okay, the storm's short today. Yeah, yeah, it is really nice, baby kisses. I don't blame you. I don't know what it is up there, but down here it's like 75. It feels great. I mean, it's really nice. And yesterday, here I got here, and that tent's still up. I got everything else packed up. The chairs is down there. It was 90 chairs. They're already down there so that they can back their truck up to them and get them. And then that's that big tent. That tent was 35 by 40, and it easily fit 90 people. You could have put probably 150 people under that thing. It was pretty cool, but it's just beautiful out here today. Really, really nice. But anyway, this thing's getting ready to die. Guys, check out the shop's wood shop tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to be back tomorrow. I appreciate you guys being here. Come back when you can stay later, y'all.